And so that did a little bit in terms of how we did the show. We did it. We got it done. And as usual, as Coach will agree, it's usually a better show when it's just the two of us.
I think everybody agrees, including me. I just keep it shows up on my calendar, so I just keep coming when I can.
Showing up.
I'm happy to let the two of you handle it the rest of the way, whatever you need.
We like your company. We like your company. It's fun to have you here.
The content
the questions aren't the greatest.
I'm good during the breaks.
Yeah, exactly. We enjoy the fellowship, as we like to say. Big win last night for the Golden Gophers on the road. It's always hard to get a win on the road. Second win of the season for Minnesota away from home, 69-61. The Gophers knock off Penn State, get back on track winning ways, and it's 4-8 now in the Big Ten, and then a home game coming up against the Fighting Illini. So, Coach, home last night, I guess, around midnight or so, and you spend your day watching some film?
Yeah, no, that's the good part when you come up a win. Yeah. No, I thought, our guys showed really good resolve and really good toughness, both mentally and physically. And to be able to get 4 out of 6 now is a big deal for us, and to get another road win is a big deal for us, and to do it in a different way is a big deal for us. So just the whole trip really, I thought built a lot of character for this team and revealed a lot of positive things that we continue to build and grow on.
Brennan Rigsby. Welcome, buddy. Right? I mean, what a performance. I've phrased that to you a million times over the years. Do you win that game without X? Do you win that game without Y? I know the answer, whether it was what got you going at the end of the first half or just being right place, right time a couple of times. Just a great performance from him.
Yeah, it was. I think he's able to do that because his habits every day are the same. He doesn't change. He doesn't change his routine, doesn't change his work ethic, doesn't change his practice habits, doesn't change his demeanor. And you're able to, because you're that consistent, go into a game in an environment and boom, just pick up. And he played loose. He played free. He elevated his play when he needed it the most. And, for him to do what he did, and also to defensively be engaged like he was, because that's where we really needed it. When they went small, we had to counter and go with a fourth guard to really be able to switch and defend and guard the way we wanted to. And so for him to come in there and just defensively be on it like he was, then I thought that translated to good offense. Kind of remind me of Yale. It was the same thing. We had him defend Yale's best perimeter guy, and he was so locked in on that. Then all of a sudden his offense was just flowing. And, credit to him for just sticking with it and showing that toughness.
Well, as a coach, I imagine you love that story because I'm sure you're always telling guys, stay ready, be ready. And I love kids that, haven't played a lot. That's really hard to do, right? So I think it says a lot about him that he did just continue to stick with it. Now he got rewarded. When you don't know when your next opportunity is coming, that's tough. And so I give him a lot of credit for that.
No, for sure. He's got a maturity about him. But just to stick with it, to your point, every single day with his habits, like he does the same shooting routine every morning. That never has changed throughout the entire year. He does the same routine, after practice. That doesn't change. Same film routine. That doesn't change. And his demeanor in practice hasn't changed. There's no moping. There was no pouting. There was no woe is me. He just keeps battling and he just keeps staying who he is. And I think being an older guy helps with that a little bit, but that maturity that he's shown this whole year allows him to be in position mentally to come in and have a game like that.
Yeah, and you think about his story and how it's unique. He started the first 10 games of the year, right? And then went into a mode where, a couple of things. Mike Mitchell was injured, part of that, right? So he was getting minutes, others were getting minutes. So when Mitchell came back, you had to determine, how were we going to redivide these minutes? And maybe he was on the poorer end of that because you had Mike Mitchell's going to play, right? And then he gets into a little bit of a shooting slump, had not scored since Wisconsin, but as you said, you saw him every day in practice in this routine. I could see where a guy would, and not saying that he's just been always hunky-dory, I'm sure he was disappointed not to play as much as he was, but to keep fighting then and to be able to tell this story now on this night was pretty remarkable too.
Oh, no, exactly. And again, it's a great lesson to everybody on the team because they all see it too. Yep. I'm not the only one who's in the gym and sees pleased the way he's conducted himself. And that's why I kind of alluded to after the game, he's like a pro's pro. Like, he's just that guy that just stays ready. And again, coaches say it all the time, you know, when your number's called, ring the bell. Well, this is a prime example of this guy staying the course, and his numbers was called, and he rang the bell. And sometimes it's just opportunity, you know, like, you want to play everybody as a coach, but there are certain games where the opportunity might not present itself as much as other games. Well, this was a perfect game, A, foul trouble, but B, because of how they played, that the opportunity was going to present itself because of the circumstance. And so it was just great to see a guy rise to the occasion when the extended minutes and the opportunity did present itself.
Do you think, too, we talk about the dunk, right? That was part of the 6-0 run. You talked in the pregame show when I asked you about the Washington game, and you said that last 3 minutes you went from down 4 to down 10 against Washington. And that's a significant gap at halftime. You're down 10 with about 3 minutes to go last night, and then you go on a 6-0 run to cut it to 4. I mean, it's 6-point difference, but mentally it seems that's different, right?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. I mean, I think he was even under 2 minutes in our game. It was 34-30. Under 2 minutes to go, and then we had two defensive, self-induced errors. That
Washington game, right?
Yeah, that Washington game. They made 2 threes and extended it to 10, and that's just, I don't care who you're playing, that is hard to overcome. And I felt the same thing last night, though, but in the reverse order. And I know, I'm sure those Penn State coaches went into the locker room saying the momentum is flipped. Like, yeah, we may have the lead, but the momentum is flipped. And then I thought we carried that to the second half. And to be able to end halves like that on a good note, even if you're down a little bit, whether it's 1 or 2 possessions, but to end halves on a positive note for most teams, it sparks confidence. Your halftime speech and vibe is way different.
Yeah, it was 25-15, and then you go in at 25-21 on the 6-0 run. You hear announcers say it a lot. I wonder what a coach's thought is that, if you could just see one go through, maybe that changes things. Well, in this case, you saw it go through on that dunk, right, as part of that 6-0 run. Are you a believer in that all of a sudden, all right, he went in, just got this highlight reel dunk, threw it down, everyone's like, whoa, who's that guy? that can shift your mentality? Like that might have changed how he went about the second half?
Yeah, no, I think for any player, I mean, even Dawson, our leading scorer, if you can see something go in early, that's an easy shot. That just helps everything. You don't want that first shot, whether you're a leading scorer, a guy coming in and hasn't scored in a while, to be a high degree of difficulty or maybe a long 3 or end of shot clock. Anything you can get, whether it's a free throw, just to, again, see it go in, you want. And just, I could see it from my vantage point. The seas just kind of opened, and I swear to God, my first thought was, this kid has no idea that this dude can jump.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought. That was because I saw him. Yeah. I saw it. I said, in my mind, in real time, I said, there's no way they know. So my only thought was, I hope he doesn't get there in time for the charge. Yeah. Because I said, if he doesn't get, I've seen it a million times. Like, that's going to be at the rim. Oh, yeah. And sure enough, he did it. And it was just a great play for him.
Penn State guy wanted nothing to do with it there.
Yeah. Once he saw it, he was like, okay, I'm getting out of the way.
That was a little reverse pivot there. A kid on the bench was pretty funny.
Brennan went viral for a dunk he had in high school.
I don't think I knew that.
Oh, yeah. It went viral.
I got to get online.
He did an in-game between the legs dunk in transition.
Yeah.
In game. No, he's a really, really high-level athlete.
Yeah.
I stood up.
Yeah,
because I'm like, whoa, okay, that was wild.
Yeah, that was a heck of a dunk. And we've seen some flashes that I forget who it was against, where he had the 2-hand block, where he just stripped it and then went coast to coast with. I think it ended with a dunk.
Trying to get him to be
more along those lines,
more of that force.
I do have to ask you about his the 1-3 he banks in. It's a pinball. The ball's loose and it rolls, and that might be an indication. Okay, if it's your night, it's your night. You're banking in a 3. The other 3 he hit. It was
actually off of his assist on the ground.
Yeah, as Lakai Patterson walks by, he kind of volleyballed it out, right? Just a great, and there were a couple of different bats of that ball, and it was crazy. And so he banks that one in. But the other one, you're now at that point into kind of let's conserve some time, or not conserve some time, burn some time mode. And I want to say he took that with maybe 13 or 14, but took it with such confidence. So what's your philosophy on that? Would you have preferred, all things?
I was good with it.
You were good with it. Because sometimes coaches would be, no. Oh, good. All right.
Because what you don't want, at least for me, in that situation, Mike had made one or two. You know, Brennan had it going. Well, you don't want them to now be so tight and so shot clock conscious. Well, now you're almost in like delay game.
Yeah.
And then you get something bad because they're playing on their heels versus just in the natural flow. If it's a wide open shot with a guy that's, can make those, like, you got to take those. So,
Yeah.
like, there's a difference between being greedy. Now, if it was 24 on the shot clock,
right,
that's different. But once you get to 15 and under, like, guys, you have to still make plays. You have to still play the game. And so I was more than comfortable with that. And again, we had to keep our aggressive mentality. I did not want to change. When you have a lead, you got to play with the lead.
Play to win the game.
You got to play to win the game. And so I was more than good with that shot.
Well, and you were defending so well on the other end, right? So even if it's a few seconds early, you'd been getting stops. I think they had 5 field goals in the last 8 or 9 minutes, whatever it was, and the last one was right at the end. So what clicked there defensively where you guys really started locking up at the end?
With that team, so much of it is just getting into a rhythm offensively and defensively. In the first half, you're trying to just get into a rhythm, all right, with their just kind of ball screen motion and all the switching we had to do. Again, that communication, that rhythm takes time. I thought the first half we were pretty good. I mean, I didn't think it was like horrible defensively. I just knew once we really got confidence and got that rhythm, the second half we had a chance to be a lot better. And I didn't know if they could totally play that way again versus a really good defense. And so we talked at halftime. We wanted to control tempo the second half. And then now that we had the rhythm and the confidence, combine those together. And then I think that's what you saw.
And you went small too, right? Where you're able to maybe switch more things than you could have prior to whether Big Frank or Parker's in there. How much did that help? Where basically you're switching and keeping a guy between the rim and the man.
Yeah, no, you had to. I mean, they went small, and it's yes and no. Like, so it's easier because you know what you got to do. It's harder because you don't want to give up slips. Sometimes they go screen stuff where it's that gray area, but your talk has to be on it with constant, like, flip ball screen, drive and kick ball screen. That happens really fast. And so the communication piece has got to be up a level, and then your intensity has got to be up a level because they can slip out of them. They can use them. They can have different guys that are setting them. And so I thought our guys did a great job of, 1 through 4, including Dawson, of just being on it and having our communication and second effort be at a high level.
All right, let's take our first break. We will talk more about this win over Penn State from last night. We'll take a look ahead. We have the long contested 2 coming up near the bottom of the hour as well. That is all straight ahead. We'd invite you as well to visit the University of Minnesota bookstore. There you'll discover the area's largest selection of U of M and Golden Gopher apparel and novelties for fans of all ages. From the latest fashions to traditional favorites, it's the University of Minnesota bookstore. It's your one-stop shop. And don't forget, each week on this show, we're giving away a $25 gift card to the U of M bookstore. Visit the sign up to win page at gophersports.com. Visiting gophersports.com/U of M bookstores to enter. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the Svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Do you know how plastic bottles become shirts, shoes, or backpacks? What happens when your recyclables leave your curb? Can they really become something new? Visit WM.com to learn how WM helps turn your plastic bottles into everyday products, giving materials a second life. WM has the recycling infrastructure, innovation, and expertise to serve our Twin Cities community and care for our planet. The recycling process starts and ends with you. Visit WM.com to learn more.
The human heart. It doesn't take days off, or hours, minutes, or seconds for that matter. It just keeps beating in steadfast, unrelenting service to each of us. So when your heart needs medical care, doesn't it deserve the most advanced treatments available, delivered by nationally recognized physicians and surgeons? Show your heart some love. Take it to mHealth Fairview. Visit mhealthfairview.org/heartcare to learn more.
Are you looking for concert or sports tickets? As a local Minnesota company, Ticket King is a company you can trust. They have seats to fit every budget and even offer parking or tailgating passes, and all tickets are guaranteed. Each order is personally attended to by one of our dedicated customer service representatives who are committed to providing you with a courteous, professional, quick, convenient experience. Visit us at TicketKingOnline.com or call us directly at 612-341-4131.
U of M looks good on you. Shop the largest selection of University of Minnesota clothing, accessories, and gifts at the University of Minnesota bookstores. Love to read? Check out their huge selection of books. Want competitive pricing on the latest technology, tech accessories, services, and repairs? U of M Bookstores has that too. Visit the U of M bookstores in Kaufman Memorial Union, the St. Paul Student Center, game day kiosks, or online at bookstores.umn.edu. You can guarantee yourself a Minnesota maroon and gold win when you sell your business with Sunbelt Business Advisors. Sunbelt is a local alumni-owned company and proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics. Sunbelt provides business owner brokerage services to small businesses as well as mergers and acquisition services for companies up to $150 million in revenue. Are you thinking about selling? Sunbelt can help you make the most from your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com for a free confidential value range. Minnesota's largest seller of companies. sunbeltminnesota.com.
Cheering on the Gophers has never been so easy. Shop the Cub Bakery for festive cakes, cookies, and cupcakes dressed up in Gopher gear. Pro tip, pre-order online at Cub.com, drop in your local Cub, or order directly on the phone, and we'll have it ready for you. Cub, the official grocer of Gopher Athletics and the exclusive home of the Gopher Athletics Baked Treats.
The University of Minnesota teams and traditions are legendary. Our team at Strategic Wealth Designers are proud to be a partner of Minnesota Athletics. What an honor to be working together. When you're ready to discuss your financial future, call the team, the Golden Gophers Trust. We look forward to creating your winning strategy for retirement. Visit us at swdgroup.com today and go Gophers.
Playing the Minnesota Lottery is exciting, so here to tell you all about it is me. And to make it more exciting, I'll be using my movie trailer voice. In a world where we all crave more play in our day, one woman's journey leads her to the convenience store. Coming this year, scratch games from the Minnesota Lottery, and you're gonna wanna play because anything can happen when you say, I'm in. Must be 18 or older to play.
No matter who you are or what you do, there's a Ford vehicle that can help you own the day. Make life on the go feel like a breeze in the new Ford Explorer. Make tough tasks look easy with the powerful performance of a new built Ford Tough F-Series truck, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 years. Or take your adventures in the great outdoors to a whole new level with our built wild family of Ford Broncos. Whether it's for work or play, there's a Ford with a great deal waiting for you at your local Northland Ford dealers. Don't wait, get behind the wheel of a new Ford today, based on calendar year total sales.
Welcome back. More Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson. We're glad you're with us here on this Wednesday. Minnesota gets the win last night over Penn State out in Happy Valley, 69-61. Mike Rim and Justin Gard with you, along with the head coach. We are at the Gopher basketball practice facility. We spent much of that first segment, and rightfully so, talking about Brennan Rigsby's game last night. 14 points. He was 5 for 5 from the floor, including 2 for 2 from 3 and 2 for 2 from the line. And he becomes the first guy since who were you telling me, Michelle? Blake Hoffarber and Andre Austin Hollins to have a game like that. 5 for 5, 2 for 2, and 2 for 2, perfect from the floor. Other heroes certainly.
They never had a dunk like him.
They did not. Austin could. Austin had
could.
A couple of throwdowns.
Yeah, Austin.
I think Austin would take issue with your comment.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking Andre because you said it first. You're right. Austin absolutely had a couple dunks like that.
Yeah. But that was a heck of a throwdown, and it set the tone heading into halftime. But when you have a win like that, and Coach, you talked about it immediately in the post-game show when I asked and said it looked like a team win, and you were quick to add it was a team win, but a toughness team win. So you go down that box score, and Lakai Patterson to me stands out too. And we mentioned he had walked by here earlier before the show, just out in the hallway, 14 points. But I thought he was more assertive, and you were kind of in search of your guards maybe being more assertive, and particularly for a stretch in that second half.
Yeah, I thought, first off, he did an amazing job on Ace Baldwin. I mean, he stepped up to that challenge, and I thought from start to finish did a really good job. I mean, Ace was 5 of 13. So I think his mentality started there. He knew that was going to be a tough cover, so he was locked in, and I think it just carried over, for him to get 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover. You just seemed like he was getting by guys, seemed like he was getting downhill, he was getting to the paint, he was making good decisions. His offensive numbers flowed from that. Shot a really good percentage, but just the mentality defensively, and then the rebounding piece with his, playmaking ability, I thought really, really helped us.
If you watch his game last night and multiple games, and then go watch in November, it's not even the same guy.
No.
Like at least from my perspective, and we've talked about it a million times on this show. Getting used to the level, getting used to playing with new people, getting used to what's expected of you, what you can do, what you can't do. There were times where I just wondered, I wonder if he's going to shoot. I wonder if he knows. And now it's like he's setting guys up. The back down last night, I mean, what a huge shot that was for the moment in the game. Just an incredible progression through, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. He's gotten better, period,
Yeah.
He's really worked on his game, and his discipline has gotten so much better from when he got here in the summer even. And you're seeing it just kind of come to fruition right now, where this time of year he's confident, and because of that he's elevated his play. He's playing faster, he's getting to his spots. Again, he's being assertive, he's not hesitant with his shot. But just the defensive piece, he's taken huge strides defensively. He's one of our best off-the-ball box helpers. Now he's been good. He's proven with last night on the ball, he can keep guys in front and has just a fight and a will to him. So credit to him. I mean, he's really elevated his play, but he's gotten better, every single month he's been here.
And I think too, your guys, I think Frank Mitchell, we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago. Now that we're in February, but you get this part of the Big Ten, and these guys are learning as guards, you said, as well. And Lakai has a physical nature to his game that fits the Big Ten, and I think he's learning, I can, there was a play last night defensively on Baldwin where I think he decided, I'm just gonna physical him. If I get called a foul, I'm gonna get called a foul, and if it goes, it goes. They didn't call a foul. He's like, okay, that's how I'm gonna play it then, right? Yeah. I mean, you learn.
And we talked about it. He's got to use that body.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a physical nature there.
You gotta make it a football game, my man. And I think, with Femi, he's got physicality to him. And he's got the size. Lukai's got physicality. Ike's got physicality. Those guys got to use that. Frank's got physicality. He's got to use that. That's to their advantage. And I kept telling them, in this league, they're going to call stuff, but they're going to also let stuff go that you don't think. So you got to, kind of impose your will early so the refs know, all right, this is how it's going to be played, almost like the rules of engagement.
Yeah.
You got to set the tone early. But I think they're understanding now what they can and can't get away with that physical, from the physical standpoint, especially on ball screens. But they got to use that to their advantage. They are physical guys, and there's a toughness to them. And I just think it trickles down to the other guys too when they're showing that on the perimeter.
23 minutes, now 24 minutes into the show. We've not yet mentioned Dawson Garcia in much length. Another ho-hum 19.14 rebound performance, great defense 1 through 4. First half, obviously they're doing everything to take him out, I'm sure. So what were you able to tweak to really get him going in the second half?
I thought in the first half he had a couple looks he just didn't make, and that happens. I thought in the second half the guards did a better job of understanding when to find him, whether it was in the post, on the perimeter. He made himself more available. We tweaked a couple things what we did offensively with how we just played. Against that team, you can't really run plays, so you got to kind of put guys in spots, and we did a better job of kind of orchestrating that. And he's a good player. He's gonna make plays at the end of the day. You just gotta somehow orchestrate a little bit for him, and he's gonna figure it out. And I think the best part is he didn't settle again. Even in a game where maybe his offense wasn't rolling in the first half, he didn't try to force it. I mean, everything he talked about and was consumed within that game had to do with winning. It had nothing to do with give me the ball, I need touches, do this, do that. It was all about the right stuff. And a lot of it in his talks was about defense and rebounding and 50-50 balls, which I thought we didn't do a great job of getting. But again, it's hard to mess up good players. And I've learned that really quickly. That's why we're on staff about keep finding really good players, because it is hard to mess up guys that are good.
Well, and he started 1 for 6 and ends 7 for 15, so he hit 6 of his last 9 shots, and he has been such a shot maker. I think that's been, to me, the key to the whole thing in terms of where this elevation has come. He's always been a really good player, but he's in Big Ten games only, he's leading the league in scoring, and then if you count all the games, he's, I think, a 1/10 of a point back behind the kid from Rutgers. So, I mean, he has elevated. He's making shots, 6 of his last 9. And then this stat stuck out to me. In winning time late as a team, you made 9 of your last 10 field goal attempts. I mean, you're going to win every night if you're making 9 of your last 10 shots, right?
Yeah, just how we talked about it, no, I think there was just, and sometimes it happens, like, you obviously don't want to lose games, but there's something that happens with a team in a game that they feel like they weren't at their best mentally, and they weren't at their best maybe in all phases for 40 minutes of competing the right way. And I think you saw a team that was a little bit more tight and a little bit more dialed in because they knew what they didn't do last game. And it just showed, and it showed when you're urgent and your focus is laser strong. You have the ability to, whether it's execute offensively, execute defensively, or for us making free throws too, to go 80% from the line in 12 or 15. I mean, we've all seen that we've probably lost 4 to 5 games because we haven't been able to make the free throws at the end. And we were locked in, and it translated to all phases.
I know foul trouble had something to do with it, and obviously Femi picking up 4, then getting the T to go 5, that had something to do with it, but played a lot of guys, right? And how much do you think that helped you down the stretch? 3 guys had pretty heavy minutes. Obviously 2 had really heavy minutes, 38-ish, but just to keep a lot of guys engaged and then have something left for that stretch run when you needed to finish them off.
Yeah, no, that's where I think the toughness piece really came into play, because again, going against their full court pressure and half court pressure, and then having to guard and switch all the time for 35 minutes of that game is taxing. And, our guards in Dawson didn't get a lot of breaks. And so, to be able to mentally not get worn down and not get tired, not get mentally fatigued, and have that one careless pass that turns into a turnover, and all of a sudden they're on a run. That was huge. I even talked about, I intentionally tried to save timeouts for late so that I could just use one just for a break and do it with the media as we got around the 6 and under, because you see guys were gassed, and it was just, you're telling them just to hold on and try to use those media timeouts and those team timeouts wisely.
Well, did the Washington game inform that a little bit too? Because I mean, there wasn't a lot of subbing in second half Washington, right?
No, there wasn't. But I thought that was kind of a different. This one, because they went straight for perimeters and we were switching everything, you're able to kind of sub it on the perimeter, from the perimeter standpoint more. The Washington game, that was a little bit less. Some of that because we were coming from a deficit and a crew got us back in. And it was like, all right, you see Mike make a 3. And in the back of my mind, you're going, man, I've seen this before, when all of a sudden he makes 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
Or you're seeing Frank's physicality, and you're like, man, if they're going to keep their big boy in, it's hard not to keep our big boy in. And he gets those extra offensive rebounds. And then you see a 10-point deficit shrink, and you're going, I don't want to screw this up. And then also in the second half, like, if you're older, you don't get tired in a game like that, so.
All right, let's take a break. You got the long contested 2 all prepped and ready. You've been spending all weekend on it.
I'm getting older, so I'm ready. I'm not getting tired. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You got the endurance for it. That will be up next when we come back. We want to one more time remind you can visit the University of Minnesota bookstore, discover the area's largest selection of U of M and Golden Gopher apparel and novelties for fans of all ages, from the latest fashions to traditional favorites. It's the University of Minnesota bookstore, your one-stop shop. Visit online at bookstores.umn.edu or in person at the Memorial Union on campus. Stay with us. The long contested 2 is next. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield. Network, Mike Grimm along with Justin Gard. Gardsy, you've got basketball tomorrow night, women's, huh?
Yeah, Iowa women are on a roll. They're coming in here against
3 wins in a row for them.
they knocked off USC on Sunday, so they're 5-6 in the Big Ten, coming to the barn after our Los Angeles road trip.
Yeah, you were out in L.A., and Gophers now right on the right side of the tournament for the moment, and hoping to keep things going. So tickets available for that one tomorrow at gophersports.com, 7 o'clock, Minnesota and Iowa. Gopher men next up, home game against number 23 Illinois. That's Saturday, 5 o'clock. We'll take air at 4:30.
Still got tickets.
And tickets for that one
Still
as well.
available.
3 straight Saturday games. Everyone loves the Saturday game. A great crowd for Oregon.
Guards will be there.
The guards will be there.
Yep,
Very
5
good.
o'clock.
Good luck then.
Yep, we'll try to storm the court again. We're happy to do it.
Brought the luck last time. Let's get the Fighting Illini this time on Saturday. 5 o'clock is the tip. All right, so we've all been waiting for it. We didn't have Guardsy last week, so we've got him this week, and it's the long contested 2.
Do you believe, like so many on social media, that the NFL is rigging the playoffs and the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs?
So I'm during the season, I'm off social media.
I know, I hesitated to ask you this.
The hard part is I'll get like in a group chat of screenshots, and the best ones I've seen are the I didn't see much of the game, but the last Kansas City Chiefs game with the refs. So I'll get all those about like, whatever joke is about the refs being on.
The one AI one where the ref is announcing why they're doing it. Because Taylor Swift is it was amazing. Yeah.
Do I think? I hope not. I'll say that. I hope not. I don't. I would say no. I think Kansas City's really good.
Yeah. Well, it is. Of course, it's absurd because think about all the people that would need to be in on the conspiracy.
Yeah, yes.
I'm guessing there'd be some leaks, even though Luka just got traded and there's no leak. There was no leaks of that. That stunned everybody. But it is something that I'm sure you deal with all the time. I'm sure you've got a private group chat with a group of coaches and feel like you never get calls. And why does this guy get called or why this program get calls? But that's kind of part of reality sometimes. Whether it's true or not, it's the perception that's been built up, and it is something that you do probably have to fight through, right? Where if you know you're going to X building, it's going to be tough tonight, guys, right? So how do you handle?
Pecking order.
Yeah, but there is, right? Yeah. So whether we want to admit it or not, so how do you navigate that and try to go through that?
You just, I try to worry about the things I can control as much as I possibly can. And I've learned just for me, I don't know if every coach is like this, but for me, if I get emotional about stuff outside of coaching, then that messes me up with helping our guys and coaching our guys. And I think sometimes you can. I mean, some coaches are really great at they can have the energy to get on the officials and do all that, and at the same time still see the game and be able to coach the game and call the game and coach their players. I'm not like that. I can't. That's not me. So, I can obviously still have input and say a thing or two with the rest, but I can't get so emotionally into that. Well, then all of a sudden now I'm losing the flow of the game and I'm out of rhythm. And I think that's worse. That's for me. So I just try to stay emotionally invested in the things I can control and worry about coaching our guys. I mean, I also try to look at it like, there's a lot of mistakes we make as coaches, and if the refs blew us up every single time, I think, you got to put a little bit in perspective. I think for the most part, we get pissed. But then you look back on it, and they get a lot of them right.
Yeah.
It's just obviously the ones that are obvious, or if it's just over the top sometimes. You go into an environment, like I know we go on the road to certain places, like I'm not going to get the benefit of the doubt. It is what it is, The only thing you hope for is when you've played good enough to be in the game.
Right.
That's when it becomes fair.
Well, that's where I wanted to go next, because I remember a couple of years ago when you did the all-access thing for Fox Sports 1, and you beat Ohio State, and who was pretty good at the time. Holtman was still coaching there, and you said, and that was exactly what you said to the ref. It was like the 4 or 5 minute mark, and something had gone your way. And you said, we've played too well. Like, we have given ourselves a chance. Like,
call it right.
We're asking for a fair. I loved it. I mean, but that's because that is all you can ask for, especially late. And obviously, it doesn't always work out that way. And you hope it evens out.
Yeah, even last night with Dawson. I mean, there's some plays where you just remind him, hey man, like he's earned a couple of these down the stretch, just to kind of get ahead of it a little bit. We're like, don't forget, who he is, and he's earned, the attention of your eyes on these plays, or you just remind them, hey, we're looking to do this. Like, he's a downhill dude, or he's attacking. He hasn't settled all game. Like, it's going to be at the rim. Let's make sure we keep the eyes at the rim. But again, there's human nature that comes into part of it, and everybody makes mistakes.
So it doesn't sound like you ever plan to tell an official you're the best bleeping coach in the game, and I deserve those calls.
I probably, again, there's some guys that can say something, and he's earned it. Like, I'll give him credit. You win 2 titles. You can say what you want to say.
Danny Hurley, for those that might not pay attention.
Yeah.
The second or third time we brought him up on the show this year.
He's definitely earned that. And I also know that there's guys in this league that have earned the right.
Yeah.
To probably go over the board a little bit. The only thing I guess the only thing that's frustrating to me is everybody's got a different personality, even in our league. Mm-hmm. So certain guys can't act a certain way and they get brushed off because that's just who they are and they get a free pass. And then other guys can't act like that. And if they do and they turn it, then all of a sudden now it's more heightened because that's not their personality. Because there is a vast array of guys and how they coach on refs in our league. And that's the only thing I brought up is like you can't, a person's personality, demeanor, that can't have input or can't give a guy more leeway.
Right. I'm sorry I'm so chill, basically, is what you're telling them.
Or just not consumed with every play.
Yeah.
On it to a crazy level where now all of a sudden for some guys that might be, it just gets chalked up to, well, that's just who they are, and so they get away with being able to every single call versus some guys who's like, if you're just not like that, then all of a sudden, if you all of a sudden get like that, well, they view that as, well, what's going on? This is a drastic change, you know?
Right.
You can't penalize that for demeanor.
So I didn't mean to make it about the refs, but I did. I know you don't like that, Mike.
I prefer not to discuss the officiating.
You try to stay out of the officiating thing, so I know this is making you probably uncomfortable.
I'm a little uneasy.
You typically don't have opinions on matters like this, but I think what's annoyed people about the Chiefs in particular, and it annoys me too a little bit, not that I'm sick of them winning or anything like that, but and you guys deal with this in basketball, they had to institute the flopping rule to get rid of it. But when guys try to sell every single call, Mahomes is trying, he got a free 15 yards because he kind of pretended he was going to go out of bounds or slowed down, and the guy tapped him, flag, because he had his foot. Like, that's not, to me, competition. That to me, is you're trying to trick refs. We see it coming around screens. Guys' heads are flying up. They didn't get it. And now you can review everything. You can see everything. And it just bothers me when guys are fooled or intentionally trying to fool. I know they're selling, and you got to flop sometimes if a guy's taking a charge, but that's what I think is starting to get annoying about the Chiefs, is that they're starting to do a lot of that stuff and getting rewarded for it.
Well, that's the thing. That is one thing I will talk to refs about, is player tendencies. And, it's definitely happened this year, especially when you get guys in league play, and you can either warn them ahead of time, or if they call it, pull them over and say, hey, man, you've watched the tape. That's what this guy does. Like, you can't fall for that. He's going to do it again, and that's not right. So being able to be in their ear about that, I think is totally fair, because they should know. They should know player tendencies, especially defensively. There's certain guys that either gamble and try to cheat screens and get a charge, or if there's guys that are just real handsy or grab or notorious for whatever they try to get away with, that's a tendency you can see on film, and that's the ones that you can't let slide. If that's part of who they are as a player, they're trying to use that to their advantage. Well, you got to be strong enough as a ref to call that, especially if it's advantage disadvantage.
Yeah, and there are certain rules. Like now, the head bob is like you're instructed not to.
Which is great.
Reward that, but there's still occasionally you'll see a guy get rewarded for it, which, Yeah.
And typically it's the smaller guys.
Yeah.
Like, because, that's one thing I think Frank got penalized early in the year with ball screen coverage, because he's so big. Sometimes refs say there's no way he can move his feet that quick. So it's going to be a foul, you know what I mean? Right. Or he's so big in a non-conference he goes against smaller guards. Well, guess what? He could be standing there. A small guard's going to bounce off him. It's going to look a certain way. That doesn't mean it's a foul. You can't prejudge.
Yeah, don't get me started on the moving screens.
Oh, our league, there is no such thing. And I told our guys, well, then, lesson learned. Like, we need to be doing that. Like, they don't call it, fellas. I've been trying to tell you guys. They don't call it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy.
Especially against certain people.
I'm going to remember this when there's a critical moving screen on Saturday night that goes against the Gophers.
Yeah, no,
don't say that.
I'm actually on the opposite. I think they call too many moving screens.
Yeah, come to the women's game.
A screen is designed to create contact. Just because a guy runs into a guy doesn't make it a foul.
Right.
Like, the only ones that hurt are just the hip bumps late, where it's like, you just can't get so out of your space where it's like, all right, come on.
No question. But I think there's some guys that just love to do the, whoa, we're going to go the other way.
Point the other way.
And anyway, it's all good.
Thanks for coming out of your comfort zone to talk about
I don't like to do that, but
they love that
for the long contested 2-all.
That's common in the makeup call.
Yeah.
I already know. If there's a bad call, they're going to get a moving screen instantly. That is the go-to makeup call. Boom, moving ball screen. It's like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, all right.
I got you.
We got the ball back.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. And then, no, we don't do that. All right, let's take a break. We'll wrap it up. We'll preview the Fighting Illini when we come back. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the Svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Midland Hills Country Club is well known as one of the finest golf clubs in the Twin Cities. The club has totally renovated its classic Seth Rayner design course back to its original design. Enjoy a meticulously maintained course and experience what Midland Hills Country Club has to offer. Midland Hills is conveniently located in Roseville, just 10 minutes from either downtown. A limited number of memberships are available. The club offers a great golfing experience and a comfortable social atmosphere. Visit midlandhillscc.org.
You depend on CenterPoint Energy to deliver energy for what matters most. To you, your neighbors, and throughout the land of 10,000 lakes. So we can all make a better tomorrow. That's why we're investing in the latest technology to reduce emissions, offer rebates on qualifying energy-efficient natural gas equipment, and provide energy-saving programs that help save you money. Look ahead at centerpointenergy.com/futuremn.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. See Home Club for details.
Gopher Radio Network headquarters, and our thanks to Michelle Traversie as well for getting everything organized as always for us. We have our final segment right here and right now, and it's always reserved to look ahead, and it's a big one this weekend. Saturday, late afternoon, early evening game, 5 o'clock tip-off, Minnesota against number 23, Illinois. And Coach, tell us about the Fighting Illini. I know you're just coming off of that game last night, but I know you always have an advanced guy looking at it, and I'm guessing you've got an idea what to expect.
Yeah, I got a chance to just briefly kind of watch them last night, but dove into them this morning. Maybe the most talented team in our league. You know, they got some guys that can go get it at all the spots. So gonna have to really be on it defensively. They can play big, they can play small, they got size, they got length. They're skilled at all 5 spots, especially they got a freshman that's just a tremendous physical rebounder, low post presence, and they got one of the best ball screen guards probably in the country. So, you know, we're gonna have our hands full, but I think it's a game that Penn State helped us prep for a little bit, just with how we might have to guard defensively. I know our guys will be up for it. We'll be excited. Another chance to get a top 25 team in our building, and a chance to try to get 5 or 7.
Yeah, last 2 times you've had a ranked team in your building, you've beat them. Like a month ago, they went out to Oregon and won. They were up at one point by 40. I think the worst home loss in Oregon history. And I'm like, these guys might be the best team in the country. They win again. And then as we've talked about in the Big Ten, all of a sudden you stub your toe once and it becomes another. And now they're trying to, they've had some injuries in that stretch too, and that always is a factor. But when they're on, man, right? I mean, you talked about the talent on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at their scores. Even from the beginning of the year when they're playing some really good opponents. I mean, they can get into the 90s quickly. Their pace, they can be up and down. They can, they shoot a bunch of threes, probably the most threes in our league. So you got to be able to defend the three. But yeah, I think pace will obviously be important. And, making sure that we just have the same mental outlook that we've had in 4 of these last 6 games where, some of it's got to be about us and our approach and our attention to details and our urgency and be able to take care of that. And then also, worry about them.
It seems historically, and sounds like they're shooting a lot of threes, so maybe not so much this year, but they've always felt like a team that is relentless at getting to the rim and getting into the paint. Like, whether they have a good post player, whether they have guards that want to get downhill, is that kind of a Brad Underwood staple?
Yeah, a little bit. I think they're always good rebounding-wise. I mean, they're the best rebounding team in the country in some categories. So you're always going to have that physicality at the rim. But, this year they're playing, a lot of space and pace type, ball screens, 4 out, 1 in, where if they don't have it, they look to drive it and look to lift the paint, they look to live at the rim, and in transition try to get easy stuff. So yeah, I mean, they've got explosive playmakers that can get downhill, and if you don't control them, in a one-on-one standpoint or in a ball screen, they can turn the corner, and all of a sudden they're getting, easy twos. But they're a team that's taken a ton of threes, so I'm really worried about. We got to make sure that, because when you got guys that can spray it from 3, some teams are built to be able to withstand that. Right. We're not a team right now that wants it to be a game of 3s. I think we want it to be a game of 2s. So we got to do our job and defend that 3-point line and make it a game of 2s as much as possible.
You talked about last night in the post game, a game of toughness and the physicality now that Mitchell and Patterson and some are taking on. How important is that physicality Saturday? Is this a team you got to try to be tough against?
Oh, without a doubt, especially inside. I mean, they're starting a freshman from Chicago that's a physical man-child. It is. I mean, it's amazing. Unless you knew he was a freshman, you think he's a 5th-year senior, just the way he's built, and he's athletic, and he's tough, and he's got a nose for the ball, and he's relentless. And I think I just watched the game. He had 7 offensive rebounds. You're going to have to put a body on him. That is an Underwood staple. That shot goes up. I mean, there's going to be dudes crashing. There's going to be a fight for the basketball offensively, and then their first shot defense is really good. So for sure the physical presence of not only hitting but maintaining blockouts and having other guys rebound down, and then they got bigger guards. I mean, their wings and their guards are big, and so we've got to be able to not only keep them out of the paint but keep them off the offensive glass as well.
You mentioned you're worried about the threes too. Can that be? Can you negate that with being physical on the perimeter as well?
Yeah, I think sometimes if you can avoid getting 2 on the ball in a ball screen, that's obviously best case scenario. You can keep your matchups. So yeah, if you can be physical and press up and get over screens from the guard standpoint, and you don't need the big to help control the ball, you can get into it. That's what we want to be able to do. The least amount of times, especially with this team and their point guard, that you get 2 on the ball, the better.
All right, very good. Saturday, 5 o'clock. We'll see you there.
Let's do it.
All right, there he is, the head coach of the Golden Gophers. Tickets available at gophersports.com. We'll take air at 4:30 here on the Gopher Radio Network. JG, as always, good to see you. Have a good call tomorrow night.
Thank you.
All right, there he is, Justin Guard. For the whole gang, this is Mike Grimm, and this has been Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.